Hello, let us talk about things.
Blue, do you have an introduction for this one, or do you want me to kind of...
I do not.
Whip something.
I'm leaving this all to you.
Probably the best introduction we've come up with. Just talk about you walking around eating salt.
So we're going to talk to a salty cat.
Yay.
We are going to talk about, and to Salty Cat, a.k.a. Howard, which is how I'm going to talk to him. Hi, Howard. How are you?
You do realize that Howard's my last name, correct?
Is it really?
Yeah.
What's your first name?
My name is actually Jason. And Howard, I've always... Well, my old tag used to be J. Howard. That's how most people knew me, J. Howard. Yeah,
gotcha.
So, well, I mean, I didn't know what your name was for the longest time either, so...
Yeah, Cole introduced us. Cole did. So she always calls you Howard. So I just assumed that was your first name.
Yes. No, my name is actually Jason. Last name's Howard. I can give my address, social security number.
Please
if you guys
don't.
Want.
Please.
Okay.
God, I mean, you can if you want. But...
We're not streaming live, so we can edit it out. You know.
Yeah, we can edit it. But if you guys need to know what it is, no. So yes, that. Now you know. My name is actually. But feel free to call me Howard. A lot of people do. So feel free. You can continue. I won't make you stop calling me Howard now.
You shall forever be known as Howard the Duck in my mind.
That's exactly where my brain. That's where my brain was going.
I grew up in the '80s, and all my life, that's been a joke all my life. And
really,
yes.
Is it like the pet peeve joke kind of thing, or?
Well, okay. So here's the funny thing: is that when I was younger, I was in a car accident, and I ended up hurting. I got pretty bad injury on my leg, and it literally makes me pigeon-toed. So I waddle like a damn duck. So it fits very perfectly because So Howard the Duck it's been there my whole life.
Nice.
Same thing. Feel free, absolutely feel free. It's been there a long time.
Well, Howard,
very bittersweet.
I bet. I mean, pigeon toe is not a fun thing to live with. Just saying.
It's just me run. It's hilarious.
I kind of want to ask you to do that at Guardian Con, but not in a way that you would know that's what I'm doing. But now that I'm talking about it, you're totally going to know that's what I'm doing next year.
Absolutely. Just tell me, yeah. I'm fat, so I only run if chased. So
you're not fat, liar.
You got that good Wisconsin beer gut. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but that's you're appropriate for your area.
It is. It's very acceptable where I live.
Yeah, for sure. So, Howard, you and I met through Issacle, but we actually got to meet face-to-face at Guardian Con, and I think I did introduce you to Blue. Pretty sure I did.
Yeah.
I believe so. I was pretty busy at last year's Guardian Con at the booth, but I do remember seeing you because I remember you were cosplaying.
Yes.
That I remember. Were you there the day I actually met you guys, though? When we were playing Crucible, were you there that day?
Was I there the day you met us? Yeah. Yes, pretty sure.
Because Green
lives in Colorado, but I don't know if she's partaking tonight.
No, I am not. I've been sober for a couple of weeks, just saying.
No, I'm saying
anyway.
the day I met you and Cole, or I know Cole for sure. I don't know if you were there, right. But the day I met you guys, or the Hydra Clan and everything, I was solo queuing in Crucible. I ended up being a blueberry in a Hydra match.
Oh, really?
That's how me and Cole met. Yeah, I ended up being a blueberry. So you must not have been there that day. But
I mean,
I knew
maybe?
you. I knew you, and I knew Cole. I knew of you guys, and because I believe you and I had even talked about music before all that. I know we talked about music before, but anyway, I was solo queuing one day, and I ended up being the 5th or the 6th in a Crucible match, and everybody else was Hydra. So,
because that was when Cole was on the kick of inviting all the blueberries to play with us,
well,
right?
Cole knew who I was because of my art Discord and everything, so she knew me, and we played the game, and then she messaged me and said, "Hey, I believe we just played as on a team together," and I said, "Yeah, I recognize your name," and then I ended up playing for a good part of the night, and that's how I ended up getting introduced to her and the Hydra Clan and everything like that. And like I said, I don't remember if you were there that night or not, but it was so random, absolutely random. Yeah.
And then we've played quite a few matches of Crucible together now since.
Together and against, yes, we have. I'm bad. I'm bad at Crucible. Well, I'm ever since I joined up with you guys, I know how bad I am.
You've gotten better. You have.
I have gotten better, but that's what I love about our clan is that we actually work with each other, not always against each other.
Oh yeah, and I mean, yes, we're working against each other sometimes, but it's in
that's
like,
for fun.
Training sweats and stuff like that. Oh yeah, and just Cole and I taunting you.
Yeah,
just because it's fun.
Well, I'm a sucker for girls taunting me, so.
I mean,
I don't blame you for that one.
Yeah,
I've yet to get Blue into a private match against
fun.
me. So
No.
It's fun. It's more fun against Cole because Cole just laughs the whole time, and it's really good. And so does Green. So it's always fun, and I'm glad that we've got to hang out as much as we did.
Absolutely.
But as far as Guardian Con went, Guardian Con was a blast, and I'm glad we got to meet there too.
Yeah, and you mentioned the booth that you were at because you were with. You weren't with Monkus, were you? Who were you with?
I was with Farian.
Gotcha.
I was with it was Farian, Ian Pesty, and Steph Hong, or Ori on Twitter. I was with them. We had a 4-person booth, which actually the year before we had sat down at dinner, all 4 of us, and decided that the next year we were going to do that last year. So
nice.
It was something, man. We were so busy.
All the artists, because you guys were right. I think you were right down from where Cole was having her booth.
Yeah, we were in between Bungie and Borderlands 3. So
it was like walking because it was you guys, and then because it was the side, and then on the opposite side was that was where all the artists were.
Yeah, there was 4 rows of artists this year.
Oh my gosh, it was everyone was out of because I think what was it, Elaine was right next to you guys, or not right next, but she was right near you guys too.
She was next to Cole.
She went out of her stock was gone. And,
it doesn't take long. This was my third year. That was my third year going, and I've seen the Artist Alley grow exponentially, so amazingly exponentially. The first year I went, I remember it was just after I started the Discord and started the group, and I went there, and it was Nominate Nobody, Cobb 1, Ash from Destiny Community Podcast was with their group, and I mean, there was probably 5 or 6 artists there. Then the next year,
Watermelon XO.
Watermelon XO. Yeah, I met him. It was him, Carly Cartoons, and I forget what the other kid's name was.
Oh gosh, he was so good. I have one of his pieces too.
It was
the
2 friends.
Jake and Carly were all in the same booth together.
Yes, they had a booth together. Nominate Nobody had a booth. Cobb 1 had a booth. Mm-hmm. But that was it, and it really wasn't that big. And then the next year, we had Professor Broman actually came into our Discord group and was saying, "Hey, you guys really need to come and sell artwork because it's so popular and it's so big that you guys would make a killing there." So the year after that, we had more artists, which is really cool. But last year was crazy, and this year coming up, GCX, the first year of GCX, it's going to be nuts. It's going to be absolutely crazy.
I mean, you have Irresolute, Pesty and Monkus, so many Con selling stuff.
Con is going,
and then there's
nuts.
The girl who does the dragon art, she's amazing.
Oh yeah, Astera.
Yes,
she had her own booth too, right behind you guys.
She did.
She had a booth directly behind us because I kept pulling the curtain back and messing with her the whole time.
She was selling her cutouts too. She wasn't just doing the paintings, but she had her 2D cutouts, which were really cool. There was a black talon that was amazing looking.
Yeah, I actually commissioned her to make Cole. She made Cole's EXO. I commissioned her to draw an EXO for Cole because she wanted a challenge. So she asked me, to pick her out something. So I was like, well, there's a girl that I'm in a clan with, and this is her EXO character, and make one, and she did, and she made it for her.
Yeah, she did EXO Dragon. It was awesome.
Yep. So we have them, and like I said, the year before that, Ian Pesty was there. He was selling. He was there last year with me, obviously. Did you see his helmet? That helmet was so sexy.
There were so
he had the Dead Orbit helmet made by. It was the Dead Orbit.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I remember that.
From Dead Orbit.
Gotcha.
He had that made by Eric from what I forget what his prop company is, but
he had
that made from it.
So you were kind of talking about the Destiny community artist Discord server. Do you guys have just primarily 2D artist in there? Do you guys have some of the 3D artists? Because there's been some cosplay and prop makers and stuff like that have been branching out a bit more too.
That Discord has grown so much. It literally started as a joke between me and my buddy Tyler, who TC illustrates. And we've seen it grow into so many different... I mean, we have a lot of content creators in there too, but we have a lot of, animators, graphic designers. You got Matt Oishi's in there. Captain Twaz is in there. I'm in there. Inexorable Ace, who did all the work for Dim, he's in there. We have designers. We have some... We're just now getting into the 3D artists. I'm seeing a lot more like 3D modeling artists. That guy... You have to forgive me because I'm horrible with names, but the guy who does the actual live action supers, like the martial artists.
Yeah. Guardian.
He's in there.
Gosh.
We accept. I mean, as far as art goes, like we accept all kinds in there, obviously, and we're seeing so much cool stuff, and it's overwhelming and just the most beautiful thing in the world, just to like have us all
in real life Guardian.
IRL Guardian. We have. I want to say between 120, 130 artists in there right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then we have Bungie employees in there too. They kind of keep tabs on us all.
Well, yeah.
Cosmo's in there. Roderick Weiss is in there. We have some artists in there. But they're not. They don't come in and critique us or anything. They just kind of hang out and look at everything, and it's really neat.
That's awesome though, because you never know with those kind of servers what you're going to get in there. And I mean, it seems like you guys have been really supportive of each other all the way throughout, because I know that artists like Jake and you have been around since like the beginning, but it's branched out to where you have like Little Light came in and
she's awesome.
Even Shackle does some art.
Shackle Shaka does. She does amazing art. It's a more dark style, kind of. I would compare it more to Brian Maka's stuff, but it's a little darker, a little more morbid, I guess you want to say. The point of that Discord originally was that of bringing in new artists and having them kind of rub elbows with the more established artists. When you have guys like Gamma Trap and Brian Monkus and Cobb One, these guys who are very well known, within our community. But then they have these up and coming artists. I mean, I meet there's literally artists that I meet every day. That somebody will tag me and be like, hey, check out this artist. And literally once or twice a day, I'll get a tag of a new artist that I've never heard before, never seen before. And we throw them in there. And they do. Everyone just works together. We do collaborations with each other. You'll see
I've seen trades that have been happening. Like you guys will trade off.
Yep, a lot of trades. One of the cool things too is you'll see like one artist will do the line work and then another artist will come in and paint it, or something, or do like the cell shading on it or something. We're all friends. And we all respect each other's space. We respect each other, what we do, and we all work together on things. I'm not so full stop. I'm not an artist. I'm a designer, but I can't draw. I can't draw to say. Well, I'm learning. I'm working with Pixelated Traveler actually, and she's helping me with Illustrator and After Effects and stuff to do more design work. But as far as drawing or painting, if you want to quote unquote call it that, I can't. I can't do it. But
you do some really, really clean designs for especially like the digital side of things.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I do everything for myself first, like the logo work that I just did for myself. I practice on myself first, and then I branch it out to other people. And I'm learning Illustrator, and I'm learning how to do animations and intro screens and all this other stuff. And I've been working, I've known Captain Twaz for a long time, and that man is such an inspiration to any designer. And it's funny because I'll actually like create something and I'll show it to him. Like I got the wherewithal to be like, hey, can you give me an opinion on this? And it's like one of the best designers I know. But he's so humble and he's so nice about it that he'll give me tips or whatever, and we talk it out and everything. And he's doing very well, which I'm super happy about too. But it's it's very inspiring to be in there because you see so many different things and so many different people and their styles. And, if there's a question that needs, hey, what kind of brush would you use for this? Or what kind of color palette would you like for this? You have like 50 different people that'll tell you. And you just, and then you can share your progress. So you can be like, here's what I made. Give me an opinion on it. And they do. And it's all constructive,
That's always good because you get a lot of, like, putting it out on Twitter, just like any whips or anything like that. It can get a little little crazy sometimes, I'm sure.
There is nothing that frustrates me more in this world than when Bungie reposts an art piece from somebody and says, here, look at this piece, or, or DMG or Bungie themselves will post something and, retweet one of our artists' work. Mm-hmm. And then underneath it, all you get is fix your Crucible, fix your exotic drop. Why are you wasting your time on artwork and not fixing your broken game? I have never been more frustrated than seeing that, because then people actually aren't giving credit where it's due.
Right. But there was the whole movement that you have right now in the Bungie store where they're actually bringing in the community artists to do T-shirts and all those different things. That's amazing.
Have been so supportive of us, giving us our own emblems. For if you're featured by Bungie, you can get an emblem that only an artist can get. I mean, artists get paid by these newbie kids, these newbie kids want to pay artists to draw something that they can credit themselves for, so that they can get this emblem. I have the very first emblem for something. Oh, really? Yeah, the red one. I got that one from. We've done 2 really big collaborations where we took everybody from the community, had them draw themselves as a guardian, and then put it on a big picture. Mm-hmm. And myself,
that was the poster, right?
Yes, the poster.
That thing was awesome.
Yeah, and Faisal Mekki spearheaded that. He's an amazing person, an amazing artist too. He spearheaded that whole thing, and between him and Tyler and myself, we put it together, we put it out, and it was featured by Bungie. In fact, Pete Parsons himself has a copy of that hanging in his office, he said.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so we all got the emblem for that. I do not have any of the new ones. I haven't been featured since, but
that's still really cool. That's such a unique emblem to have. And it's going to be one of the most rare.
It is. And DMG, he's been so supportive of us and always helped us out. And, and we always ask him questions, like legality questions, or, the whole process of, can we sell this? But no, I just saw recently that Brian Monkus is selling shirts now with, which is, it's beautiful.
Through their store too, nonetheless.
Yeah. It's crazy because these are all my friends, and we're just buddies and we just hang out, and whenever we get to see each other in real life, we have a beer together, but I get to see what these guys do and girls and what they do and what they've accomplished and what they've learned and stuff. And it's so amazing because I go beyond all of the chatter of what people are complaining about in the game, and all of us are all just inspired to keep creating no matter what.
Right. I think it's amazing because if you really go back into like the history and the archives of some of these artists, you see how much they've improved. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking specifically about I think is it Bella or Belle who does the
Belle?
She does. Yeah. She has those drawings that are the replicas of the weapons.
Oh,
and they're really, like, from the beginning. She started with Destiny, and she's improved so much.
The crazy thing is...
Oh, go for it.
Well, I was going to say that the crazy thing, too, is the disciplines they all have. A lot of these people that draw some of this stuff, I believe Belmir is, and I know a lot of the other ones are, but they're traditional artists. They're drawing the stuff with ink and pen. They're not doing digitally where you can afford mistakes and whatever else. People like her, or I want to say Irresolute might. I don't know if he does digital or not.
Irresolute, no, he
does physical because he does all the oil paintings and stuff.
Emily Megan, who does colored pencil work.
God, she blows my mind. She's been doing. She's been starting to do the gold foil stuff or the gold shading. Oh my gosh, I can sit there and just watch those clips, and I'm just like, how is this possible?
And then I know it, and yeah. So hers is colored pencil. Cobb One does all pen art. Most of his stuff is done through pen. Lol Pants 725. She does marker art basically. I actually have 2 pieces that she's done for me, and they're literally just pen drawings, and they're stupid good. It's so crazy what you see with all this, like what the disciplines are using. Digital art's one thing. I'll never discredit a digital artist. They're amazing at what they do. But
right.
But what's funny is, like, if you look at, so everyone knows like the Kevin Ragnit art or the like Ian Pesty style, but a lot of those guys too, like even Brian Monkus. If you go to Brian Monkus's Instagram and you look at his earlier work, he did like silly chibis like everybody else did.
Oh, that's like Khan.
It's not,
if you go back, Khan just posted a picture of his. I think it was N64 Josh was his first like avatar thing that he did, and then he did the mock-up of it wasn't Sloan, but it's the pinup model.
Yeah, he does the pinups.
It's like, oh my gosh.
Khan and I have been friends probably the longest of anybody, any other artist that I know. Khan and I have been pretty close friends for years, and we actually were head to head in a design contest, and I beat him. In this design contest. That's how we met. I've known that guy for a long time, and his progress has been unbelievable.
Oh yeah,
his literally unbelievable.
And his story in general, like I got to do an interview with him on Man at Arms Destiny Unfiltered, and his background, like what he's overcome in his life, is crazy. Yeah. But just also knowing that he's been able to go from basically being almost not necessarily unemployed, but just working a job that's not art.
He was a bartender.
Yeah, he completely quit doing that and jumped into art. And he didn't have a degree in art or anything like that. It's not like he's studied it immensely like some people do.
Thank you to Twitch, because Twitch blew up so big within the last couple of years that anybody who does, I mean, don't get me wrong, anybody who does Destiny fan art or whatever, that's amazing. And a lot of people, they do commissions and everything, but the people who embrace the whole Twitch meta and went with it, like, I do Twitch art, so I do Twitch design, and Khan, who does emotes, and he does Twitch design. I mean, we can make a killing doing this because everybody wants emotes. Everybody wants a cool looking Twitch page. So those of us who decided to go that route and learn how to design for Twitch, I mean, it's paid off in droves because it's so popular right now. I mean, I have a never-ending influx of messages and people who want work done. And so does Khan. I mean, Khan, his waiting list is 3 months deep right now. And that man draws emotes for like 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
And he's so good at it, and he's so efficient at it, and he's just making a killing at it, and I love it.
His setup is so crazy too. Just watching people go through their setup. If you ever get to watch a stream of artists, I actually find it super relaxing. And to be fair, I started with Bob Ross because it's Bob and Happy Little Trees. It was just nice and right. It was nice and relaxing to have on in the background and just watch something unfold in front of your eyes that you don't expect to be there, because the way the art process works with him and everything, and everybody has their own process. But going into an art stream, Jake did all those animal guardians after was it the flood in Texas that happened a few years back? That was really cool. Yeah. And he's been doing those kind of things on and off since then. I
mean, like I know you, and I know how you play, and when you sit there and if you're going to stream or you play and you're playing competitive or you're playing like a raid or something that's got like a lot of intensity to it, art streams are really chill. We usually just put on some chill music, and there's not a lot of talking. It's just, a lot of people say it, they'll tell me, they're like, oh, I just have your stream on in the background because I like listening to the music, and I like, checking in every once in a while to see where you are. It's not intense by any means. It's not, we just, and in my streams personally, like I work with other designers. Like I have other, like maybe up and coming designers come in there and they're like, well, how do you do this? How do you do that? So I'm constantly talking, but it's usually because I'm showing somebody something or something, whatever.
Yeah. It's not like you're talking at the audience or anything like that. You're talking with somebody about something.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the best designer in the world, but I basically decided that my streams and what I do for the Twitch, the little art community of Twitch is I want to work with new designers to help them if they have any questions. At the same time, I work with affiliates. Most of what I do is like people who just get affiliated. They need an art package that's not going to, break their bank. They don't have a lot of subscribers yet or something. So that's what I do. And I've worked with partners before. I've worked with big streamers before, but I like working with the affiliates. I like working with just, and having them come in and watch me design their page, and they can offer me input, and they can, whatever. And we just sit and talk, and because it's so much easier to do it that way than have to email people back and forth and be like, hey, what do you think of that? Or what do you think of this? Or they can just come and watch me live, and they can be like, oh, well, I don't want purple. Let's see what that looks like in blue, whatever. And so that's what I do. But I mean, every art stream I go to, I love going to art streams. I know, obviously if we have 120 artists in our in our Discord, there's a never ending flow of art streams to go to. And,
right.
Khan usually streams right along the time I do. So when I'm done, I go over and host him and I sit and watch him for a while because I need to relax and unwind for a while.
Oh, yeah. Question for you. You were talking about how everybody has their own medium that they're really into, whether it's pens or color pencils or anything like that. With design, and especially like the digital design, when you're doing the logo design and stuff like that, what would you consider your medium in it? Like, what is the thing you love to play with the most when it comes to design? Is it colors? Is it geometric? Is there any like one thing that really draws you?
It is absolutely learning or like playing with shapes. Most of my design work is shapes. I don't, I know that there's like the whole esport, when people think of design, you can picture in your head right now, you can picture that typical esport logo. Right. Usually 2 colors, usually very solid colors, usually very, cell shaded, like a tiger or a cat or a bear or something. Like that's the way you think. I don't like doing that. I like playing with shapes. I like playing, like when I look at, like right now on my desktop, I have the symbols, the class symbols of Destiny. And I love the way they did that, where they have the circles with all the geometric shapes in between it. And that was hugely inspiring to what I do. I draw all of my logo design work beforehand on graph paper. With just with pencil. And so you figure everything's squares, but I use my French curves and my rulers and everything, and I design these shapes and then I scale that. Now a lot of designers would take that, scan it, and then put it into Photoshop, trace over it, and then start coloring. I try to recreate it. So I don't trace or scan it. I literally just look at it, and then I come back and I start to draw it as I see it without the grid lines.
So you're not using grid lines when you're drawing it in Photoshop?
No.
Wow.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I just start playing with shapes until I find something I like, and there's times when I'll come up with a crazy logo, and then the next day I'll come downstairs and look at it again, and I'm like, you know what, I don't feel this anymore, and I'll erase it and start over again. But yes, so my medium would be, I start in with pencil and paper, and I get the design block in that I like, and then I basically start to draw it from there. I use Photoshop mainly. I don't use a tablet. I'm not very good at tablets. I have one. I'm not good at it yet, so I don't use it too much. Most of what I do is with mouse and keyboard, and that's actually why I have a gaming mouse and keyboard, is because the resolution on it's so high that it's easier to use for design work.
I just know, like, I've tried to draw with a mouse, and I feel absolutely like I'm starting at first grade learning how to write letters again.
Well, most of what I use is what they call the pen tool, which is not the pen tool would be like you draw point A and you draw point B and then you create a curve with that, and that's usually how I do my work. Yes, I use like a rectangle tool or a circle tool if I need it, but where to automatically make me I can't draw a circle to save my life. So to, use a circle tool to have a circle in it. But most of what I do, like my logo was drawn completely with a pen tool in Illustrator. But it's difficult to do, especially with the different layers you're using and the color layers and all that stuff. But, it's really fun. It's really fun to play around with, to see, like, if I bend it at this radius, what's it going to look like when it's put up against this square or whatever, how does how does the shadows work with that? So, I would say that would be my favorite quote unquote way to do things.
Yeah. It's always interesting to see how people work, because I know that when I watch somebody, like, you watch those GIFs of people who have done those time lapse, and some people start with the shading. They do all the shading first, and they do like portraits that way, where they literally come up with all the shading, and then all the lines come in way later.
Yep. Brian Monkus does it that way. It's just a big black blob until he shapes it into something. I watched his stuff is ridiculous.
It's fascinating, but then other people will start with line work, and they'll just create this incredibly sharp looking image with lines that end up getting moved around a lot, because line work that's just how line work works. But it's just fascinating to see everybody's process, and I think that's kind of that's the fun thing about watching art and just wishing you could do art.
Well, one thing I do, which is kind of fun, is so I can take somebody's Guardian and I can put it into their banner, or I could put it, make a Twitter banner with it or whatever. And you actually use a photo that they take. So if they have a favorite emote, or they have a favorite a pose that they like, they can give that to me. I'll remove the background from it, so it's just their guardian. And then I do this thing, I don't know what it's called, I don't know what the technical term is, but what I do basically is I put it onto a black background, and I do what's called an overlay, which means the part that the guardian will disappear in black. Mm-hmm. And then I basically paint underneath it so that color shows through it. So it kind of gives you like this image of like a if their color palette is like blue and white, I can make their guardian with like a blue kind of tint to them, that's being lit from one side and everything. And that's, I do that. So you're actually starting from dark and bringing in light to it. But it makes everything, which is kind of fun. What people like about it is it makes things very personal for the client. Like it's their guardian. It's not, I can't draw their guardian. I can find somebody that can do it. But if I could actually take a photo of their guardian and then put it onto their banner or whatever, that's usually what I end up doing for them.
You did create a Hydra family banner for us. I remember that. I still have that.
Where I made everybody take a picture of their emotes. And then, I did the same thing. I removed the background and then overlaid it with everybody. And I remember I did some goofy stuff with like Cole's guardian, and I think it was somebody else's where I like put him in a strip club and stuff like that.
It was my guardian. Thank you very much.
So, but yeah, like I love playing with that kind of stuff. I like making things personal for people and making it, because like people say, they're like, well, I want like a skull and I want that, which is fine if that's what you want. That's what you're going to pay for and that's what you're going to get. Yeah. But the Destiny community, they feel such a strong connection with their characters. And I found that out. Like Fortnite players, like I get a lot of people who want like, oh, make me a Fortnite banner or make me an Apex banner, which is fine, or PUBG or whatever. But Destiny has this thing where like people really create their stories with their guardians. And, a lot of them have names. I mean, do you have names for your guardians? I mean, most people do. Okay.
I do.
I personally have never taken the game that seriously to name. I only have one guardian. It's my hunter. I don't have a Titan or a Warlock.
Good choice.
I just have my hunter. I have one character. I've had him all the way through D1, and he's still the same one I play with now. But people create these stories with their guardians, and they're so attached to them, and I love that. You see people say like, "Oh, I'm a Titan main," and they're like really hard on that, or "I'm a hunter main," or whatever.
Oh yeah. And
I've never seen that in a game before. I've been playing games all my life, and I've never seen what we have. And I think that's what's so cool about being part of the fan community is that all these artists are drawing, specific characters for people. They're drawing their caricatures of their guardians, or what, like if there's a character in the game they really like, there's a whole like fan base just based around Aldrin, and there's a whole fan base recently of Saint 14, and it's so cool that people feel such a strong connection with that. I love it.
It's true. And
the non-safe for work art always kills me. That came with the Drifter. The Drifter has some of the best.
It is his fault. I remember. I remember starting.
Let the shipping begin.
There used to be some not safe for work with just Mara, because I think it was the Forsaken. Like just when Forsaken came out, it got a lot.
Well, it might have got a lot.
Mara was the first first hot girl in the game, though. That's why.
Right.
Mara. I mean, I was about to say, NSFW work for Mara has been around since D1.
Destiny 1.
Yeah.
And she's still like the main female. Her and Amanda Holiday, you see so much.
Holiday, there was a couple of, but yeah, I mean, with Forsaken especially, it did definitely take off.
And I've always had a crush on Anna Bray. If I said there was a cute girl in the game, I always thought it was Anna Bray. I never thought. I mean, Mara saw like
I like Anna.
But then there's poor Sloane.
Actually, I do, because, and this is something I've talked about on stream and whatnot, because Julie is Sloane. Julie, Julie, my wife, is Sloane, and I think Sloane has the best butt in the game, which I think is amazing. She does.
That explains why Green spends so much time on Titan.
That's
research. It's research.
Yes.
It's research.
Yeah, absolutely. Just turn around.
But I just think it's so cool that people will draw these things. They draw and they take that, and like I said, people have. I know there's specific artists out there. I mean, Cosmic Raven is like a prime example who 90% of her artwork is Aldrin Saab work.
Yeah,
because she has she has a strong connection with that character, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's just been interesting to see how the Destiny community has shifted. Like the focus over the years have shifted with the story, which is also kind of cool to see. You see, when Cade passed, there was so much Cade work, and then we still have like the story with, oh gosh, when Shin went through and everything. You got a lot darker artwork, and it's just. Mm-hmm. It's been kind of fun to watch just everybody evolving around it.
I have the Brian Monkus piece of Shin Malphur, and I don't, maybe I'm speaking to the wrong person, but because like I told you before, I know nothing about Destiny lore, but I believe it's Shin. The hunter with the knives in his fingers. So
I don't think that's who he meant it to be, but that's who I interpreted it as. I think it's that piece.
I think it's because he's wearing the shards of Galanor and he's got the mask on and everything. And then there's Cole, and then there's Shax.
And then there's Shax. Mm-hmm.
Shax has the best fan base ever because nobody knows. But I mean, and I think it's funny too that like if you look at Cole and you know what she's accomplished, and just basically creating a Shax parody account and the bad Destiny joke thing and everything, and that's what I mean. It's like people are building their reputation on being a specific fan base. You know, maybe not Destiny as a whole, but like Shax's motivation took off so big, and like her bad Destiny jokes took off so big, and and for that she created her own character set for it.
Yes,
but I think people haven't forgot about Cade, but they've kind of moved on into other things now. But you still see some Cade art now and then, especially if there's an anniversary that comes up or something like that. You still see it, and it's awesome. It gives us a never-ending, inspiration to create things, and that's what I see every day when I'm in that Discord, and I get to see all the art that's coming out and everything that people are talking about. I don't know. It's but then there's people who like Watermelon Exo. I mean, Watermelon Exo basically created his own universe around it. His own Fallen character, his own Exo character, and they have a story all to themselves. That this Exo is friends with a Fallen, a Dreg, and like that's you have that whole thing going on. That's so cool. Like, I mean, like I said, I don't know what other games have that. Right. I haven't heard of one.
I think the thing that I find interesting, just as far as like the fan base in general, is like their ability to role play along with it, which is basically what you're talking about, is be able to create your own world and escape into the world a lot more easily, which is nice. It's nice to be able to have that. It's what drew me to Destiny, and Blue got drawn into Skyrim and Destiny to an extent with that too. It's just
for me, it's funny because like I never followed, and I made the joke before about I don't know anything about lore, and it's funny because like I've never followed the story. Destiny to me has just been a game. It's just a first-person shooter game, and I know what to do in it, and I just go and do it. And I know the story. I've known enough of the story to kind of get me by. I'm as confused as any other idiot on the internet about like what actually happened. But
don't worry, but what's so funny are we sometimes. We're like, what?
But even this, I mean, even look at what you guys do. You guys have created a reputation around the backstory of Destiny and the lore. I mean, there's the Book of Sorrows. There's all these really deep root. I mean, this is like Star Wars stuff. It's like there's so many sub stories and background stories and all these different things that are going on. I don't know about Shin Malphur and the battle of whatever else and I just know that the map that they just brought back. See, I'm so stupid. I can't even know the map name.
Rusted Lands.
Okay, no, the one before with the guns on it.
Twilight Gap.
Guns.
Twilight Gap. But see, I know that there's a whole story about Twilight Gap, and there's a battle there. And, like, dude, that's the map I went to the lighthouse. The only time I've ever been to the lighthouse, that's the map I was on.
Oh, nice.
And that's what I remember. I don't know about a battle of Twilight Gap. I don't know about this. I learned a little bit with this whole Saint 14 stuff that we just did, but
right. But I mean, the thing that is great, and I think you're kind of heading there, is that you can ask so many different people. Like, people that would be 100% willing to talk about it and share.
It is, and I just sit there with a blank stare on my face, like I don't understand. but you can talk to me about it, and I'll sit there and be fascinated by it because it is. I mean, it's. I mean, and one day, Green, me and you, or me and you, Blue, we'll have to sit down and talk because there's. You have the Fallen story, you have the Cabal story, you have the Vex story, you have all these different NPC stories, and all this other stuff of all the stuff that had happened in this game. To me, it's like, oh, go here, shoot this, collect that, go back here, talk to this person, get a reward, do that again, and that's me. I am the Destiny idiot. I'm the layperson.
No, but you were.
You're the quintessential guardian, though. To be fair,
yes, I am, and I just know I'm like, oh, cool, a new NPC to go talk to. This guy looks cool. I'm gonna go talk to him. I don't know his story. I don't know, but and I want to learn. I really do. I want to learn because Destiny has been my life for the past. How many years has it been out now? 3-4 years. It's been my life. I've been playing this game almost every day. I talk about this game every day. I see the art every single day. Like this has been my life for a long time now, and I don't know anything about it. But
I mean, inspiration comes from a lot of different places.
It definitely does, but sometimes being that the fresh eyes to everything can be such a blessing. Because a lot of the stuff that I'm sure you guys even take for granted now is all stuff that I'm just now getting involved in, and I get to experience it for the first time.
Yeah.
When I can go back to Destiny, I still play Destiny 1. I'll load into Destiny 1 and just go and just
Destiny
go play
1's
things.
Great.
And to go back, and that's why I always push aside, like I was talking about earlier, all the whining and the complaining about the game because of how people are, whatever the elitist players and stuff like that. But to me, like, Crucible is just something fun to do to kill some time. Doing a story mission is just something to do to kill some time. It's a video game to me, and it always has been. But it's so deep, and it's always evolving. It's always, I'm sure you guys probably know, you can read the future a little bit and maybe some of these storylines and say, well, we know what's coming next. We know, what story's coming next and all, or you can at least put your spinfoil hats on and actually, guess, educated guess about it. But like for me, I always look at everything through like a child's eyes, like I'm experiencing it for the first time, and that's such a cool thing.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that is something that, in a lot of ways, the writers are aiming for people to do, to experience it.
I would
with
agree
that
with
wonder.
That. Sometimes you have to turn off the critical, and you like. I know for me, I sometimes will consciously make myself kind of try to experience that way, which is actually, it's like one of those things that it's really weird, but it's like turn off the knowledge that I have and just try to enjoy it just for exactly what you're saying. Just enjoy it for the gunplay. Because I mean,
right.
I think kudos to Bungie for doing exactly that. They've always had really smooth gunplay, and it's just,
But I mean, like, if you look at Thorn and you look at Last Word, these are guns that I like to use. These are guns that I've cursed from day one of getting shot by them. But I mean, there's a whole backstory just to that.
Right.
Where did Thorn come from? Where did the Last Word come from? And it's like I said, I think a lot of people just take it. They're like, well, Thorn's broken, and it's just. But at the same time, there's such a story behind it, and I'm learning that story right now.
And sometimes there's not a story, and Shax will tell you that there's not a story.
Sure.
Which is, did you hear that? Like the Devil's Row mission
just
where you went
a
to Twilight
gun.
Yeah, he tells Saint 14 it's just a gun. There's no background to it. So I mean, there's Bungie's absolutely going to play with it all the different directions. Not everything is going to have this great lore to it. Sometimes it's just what it is.
Yeah. We need to bring Icebreaker back, though.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, we do.
I kind of agree.
Completely agree with you on that. Give me back my icebreaker. Give me back my icebreaker.
So here's my kind of towards the end of my whole thing as far as questions for you. What is Destiny community artists' next big thing? Like, what are you guys doing any sort of major collaboration, or is there like fundraising event that you guys are coming up together? Because I know you guys have worked together in the past for that kind of thing, and I'm just curious what the next one is.
We have, and what's crazy about it is now we just kind of let the lunatics take over the asylum.
Really?
There is a collaboration happening right now, but it's completely community based, not done by us. We really try to push the notion that DCA or Destiny Community Artists, whatever you want to call it, it's not a brand. It's not a title. That's just what we call their Discord. But a lot of people associate with it, and a lot of people say, they'll put it in their banners. They'll say they're part of the DCA, which is great. We love that, that people are proud of that. But it's not. And we wanted it to be community run the whole time. There are 3 admins that keep an eye on the Discord, and we keep track of the Twitter. But for the most part, we're letting the community to just do what they want with it. So, there was an artist, I don't know right offhand who it was that did it. There's so many, and they all go by so many different names. But there's an artist that actually put together the collaboration for this year, and everybody's participating in it. And that's great, and they called it the Destiny Community Artists, collabo this year and whatever. And that's awesome. We put right on it that it was not run by us officially, by the admins, but they did this all on their own. And I love that. I love the fact that they're doing that, that they're taking this and just running with it. And we might do something like that. We always talk about doing some charity work for Guardian Con. We've been in works with Rare Drop or Professor Broman, especially about possibly creating something, for that to give away before Guardian Con to put towards charity.
Nice.
We talked about a sketchbook in the past, which we're still kind of talking about, where basically we would literally mail a sketchbook to every artist and have them draw a page and then write a story about what they drew and then send it to the next one.
Oh man,
that'd be
cool.
That'd be pricey. But I mean, they just did the calendar.
Yep.
Yeah, that was really neat.
I have that on my desk right now. It's
so,
awesome.
Same thing. Or is it the DCA calendar? Because there's been
the
a few
DCA
of them that come
calendar.
out recently.
Volshock's calendar I have not gotten a copy of just yet.
But I mean, like I said, these are community based. We really didn't do much with that. We let the community do it. Which, like I said, I think is great. I'm glad that the community is taking this over and they're doing it. Like I said, we just provided a space to everybody to come and hang out in. That's all we did. And we never wanted to treat it like it was some kind of elitist group or a clan or what. We never wanted that from the very beginning. We just wanted a place for everybody to hang out and like talk and drink beer and whatever else, and
right.
And we do. I mean, the one day we had an all artist Iron Banner. We love doing that kind of stuff. It was like me and Cobb and Brian Monkus and we all Young Con. We all got together and we played Iron Banner together and we all put our artist emblems on and we went to town. That's what we wanted. It was just like a sense of community for us, for us to hang out in.
Yeah.
But, we're really standoffish with it all now. We just kind of pop in every once in a while. We'll say hi and, see how things are going, handle some, if there's an argument in the Discord or something, we'll step in and quiet that down. But other than that, DCA is everybody, it's not us. It's the whole community now. And I love that. I think that's one of the coolest things. But like I said, we might be doing some stuff for Guardian Con. We always talk about it. We're going to try to do something like that. Something that we can give away for charity or whatever for the charity event that happens right before the actual convention.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
But I mean, I think that's the coolest thing too, is like, Rare Drop and all them, they know who we are. They know us, they know me, they know, that we've done these things. Actually I was listening to the jam not that long ago, right after Guardian Con last year, and I ran into K Magic 101, who is one of the
Kevin.
Kevin. So I ran into him at a liquor store after the convention.
Nice.
It was him and I want to say it was Pete were at this liquor store, and I actually bumped into him and I was like, holy cow, I didn't get to see him at the convention at all. I ran into Gathalion, I ran into Broman, but I didn't get to see Kevin.
Well, there you go.
And I ran into him there, and then I was listening to the jam the week later, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I ran into Howard, the Destiny community artist. I ran into him, So like they know who we are, and I love that's where we are right now, all of us and like I said, you have Bungie executives that are buying artwork from Brian Monkus and Gamma Trap and all these other people. I mean, that's the coolest compliment we can get. Is that these people who we create things based on their stories, they all respect us and they all know what we're doing and why we're doing it. And they, when it comes to the whole legalities of creating artwork, they just kind of well, just go ahead and do stuff, but just be careful.
Yeah. I mean,
don't
kind
abuse
of a fine
it.
line you have to dance right.
It's, I mean, I hear that all the time. They're like, well, why isn't Brian Monkus working for Bungie? Why isn't so-and-so working for Bungie? And and if you talk to Brian Monkus, he's so damn humble that like, he's like, well, if they want me, they'll come talk to me. That's the way it is, and I mean, he did what? He did the background for PlayStation. He did a Game Informer cover. He's doing work and he's doing cool stuff. And, Gamma Trap does stuff for Mylan Games, which is, amazing and stuff. And it's just, I don't even know.
I'm trying to think who did the original art for Saint 14 in the community artists, because there was no art for Saint 14.
For Bife's video.
Yeah, back in like D1 when
I forgot her
Saint
name.
14 wasn't an image.
She did an awesome. It's the one where he's kneeling in front of the kid.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's so much of that has translated over. Like, if you go back and look at it, you guys as the community artists have influenced the artist of Destiny themselves, which is kind of cool to just look at and see how you guys have influenced them and they influence you. And it's just kind of a huge, huge happy family that way.
It is. We have people
getting
that do
Lion King vibes
art.
right here.
Right. Circle of life.
Mm-hmm. We have like, there's artists out there that do like concept artwork, like Clinton Falker and these other people. And like they do concept art, and people from Bungie pay attention to that. They do like their own custom armor sets or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I know you guys do a lot of the custom ghost shells.
Yep.
That's awesome. I love looking at those.
Sure. It was recently where somebody had posted a picture of a artist or an armor set, and like the community went wild. They're like, "Where can we get this armor?" And they were like, "Well, this is community based. Somebody built this in the community." Plain Ben does weapon models.
I love Plain Ben.
Yeah, there for a while we were helping him do the lore behind because he did the what was it, the stupid weapons or whatever, like people are like just drawing like napkins,
doodle
guns. And so I did a couple of lore snippets for him back when he first started off of them, and it was just like, oh my gosh, that was a fun little side project that we were doing.
Yeah. He also did the Guardian. I think it was is it a warlock sitting in the chair reading a book?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's the Deej.
Yeah. It's just kind of neat.
Farian does that too. Farian does, and Farian, I mean, he draws like 3 of those a day. It's ridiculous how fast he is at drawing that stuff. But, I think like that kind of stuff and like Clinton Felker is a concept artist, and I've known that guy for a long time too. And I remember once we were just in a stupid conversation one day, and he was like, I love creating things from shapes and stuff. And my original logo that I had was it would look kind of like a dog's head, I guess you would call it. And I was like, I sent him a picture of my logo, and I was like, here, I'm like, see what you can create using this. I'm like, Plain Ben kind of did this with the doodle guns and everything, but I said, see what you can create out of this. And he drew me a hunter, a titan, and a warlock based off of my logo, and he gave them all an animal. he drew a background and like a scene that it was in, and it was all using my logo. And it's unbelievable what these people they're capable of.
Nice. It's just it's crazy to think about just how much you guys have gotten involved with everything, and how you guys are involved with each other. Blue, do you have any questions? I kind of want to give Howard a chance to do a shout out for anything that you want to talk about, like where we can find you, where we can find the DCA, where we can find just the group of people, and best way to contact you guys.
Yeah, no, I'm just in awe of what the DCA has accomplished.
Right.
I've also been around since the earlier days of Destiny. I wasn't around during the alpha or the beta, but as soon as it went live, I was there. And it's like just watching this community grow in the various aspects of it. Like it is one of those really cool things of seeing like MMORPGs have always had like those really powerful communities, and Destiny has a weird one in that the vast majority of it is positive, whereas a lot of the other ones the internet doesn't tend to be nice a lot of times, and so it's like Destiny has this really amazing community that's just always been I mean, there's always been negative stuff, but it's always been more overtly positive than negative. And the DCA really, I think, is a testament to that as well. Because you guys, I mean, you kind of said this before, but it's just people just helping each other. Like there's no expectation for like, oh, well, if I do this, if I pat you on the back, you're going to pat me on the back. Like there's, and this is from an outsider's perspective, but there's absolutely nothing of that feeling watching you guys interact with each other, and which is really actually what makes me excited to watch it and
if you
support
guys
it.
If you guys could see our Discord, just like we have channels in there for opinions or channels for work in progress where people will go and then they'll help each other and they'll be like, well, try it like this or try this or try that. Mm-hmm. It's really cool watching people bring stuff together. If people are busy, we understand that. Like people just kind of pop in when they can, but there's people that are in there every day, and they talk every day, and we talk about art, shop talk, and everything else. But we're constantly inspired by each other, because you'll see it in our own chat. You'll see somebody be like, did you see that piece that so-and-so did? Like, oh my goodness, this is so amazing. And then they'll go and be like, I want to do something like that. I want to try this technique. I want to try this, whatever. And that's so cool to see. And they'll ask each other like, hey, Brian Monkus, how do you do this? Like, how do you try, or like, what do you do here? And then he'll try to explain it. And then, people start working together on it, and they teach each other, and they mentor each other. And it's really neat. I've learned so much about digital design and just artwork, like digital art in general, hanging out with these people. There's a couple of people that I work with directly that have really helped me out. Like I mentioned before, Pixelated Traveler. Now which is funny because she doesn't draw in Photoshop. She draws everything in Illustrator, which is not easy.
Oh, right.
Wow. But she'll either sketch it on paper or she will draw everything in Illustrator. So like when you see her very vivid colored pictures, and then she also made that Guardian generator where you can make your own little Guardian using her little website that she created. So you can go and create yourself a little chibi Guardian out of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's got a very specific style. But that's the coolest thing too. You can look at any piece of art and be like, that's so-and-so. That's this person. That's this person. People would be super jealous of the fact that, like, being that I run, that's my server, I'm the one who started this whole thing. I have the biggest collection of artwork, like, sitting next to me. Like, I have just stacks and stacks of prints and digital prints and everything that people just make for me. They're like, hey, I made this, it's cool that you made this server. I made this for you. And they do. And I have probably 50 or 60 prints, like, just sitting here, that I have to hang up yet. And I get like first dibs on getting, but I get to see everything. And like everyone draws you've probably seen it before, but everybody draws my Destiny 1 hunter, the cat hunter, and, with a little cat cloak or whatever the thing is. And I do that on purpose. I want to see your interpretation of that in your own style. And that's what I recommend to people. I said, hey, here's my hunter. Here's my references. Draw this in your style. I don't care what it is or what you do with it. Draw it in your style. And they do. Mm-hmm. So I have like 50 prints, but they're 50 different prints.
Yeah. And that's awesome.
That's cool.
And, and they're one of a kind prints that I have, and I love that. And, I love seeing artwork of Shax, or you see Brian Monkus draw Shax, or you see Gamma Trap draw this, or you see TC Illustrates draw the battle of whatever. I get to see that cool stuff. That's amazing. But at the same time, I get my own custom stuff too. But for them, that's a learning process. That's something that's outside of maybe their own comfort zone. Maybe they haven't done that before, so they're going to try something new. I want to try a new technique with this. Okay, cool. I want to see it. So I'm also, working with them to try to inspire them to do new things. I pushed Cole really hard to do what she does, and be like, hey, you need to go to GuardianCon. You need to meet your fan base. You need to do more with Bad Destiny Joke. You need to do more artwork and stuff. Because she's an amazing artist. She's a very good artist. And
she's improved a ton since the beginning too. Like I still get whips from her.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say that's from us or me, but she gets to express that in that Discord and get her, what she needs for as far as education from other artists that are in there. People that maybe she looks up to, who will look at something and say, hey, this is what I would do here. But then you look at it, then there's people that are drawing her jokes for her Fairy
Fairy did, a couple other ones did too. Yeah, it's been really cool.
So, there's been quite a few at this point.
So, but that's the thing. It's like, so she's the catalyst, and then somebody uses that as their own inspiration to draw this out. You know, I mean, it's a huge circle of life, or whatever you want to call it. But it's just huge. You know, we all work together, and we all do this together. And I'm glad. I'm so humbled, but blessed at the same time that I get to be kind of the person that put all this into motion. From just opening up a stupid Discord and having fun fact, a lot of those artists that are in there turned me down when I first asked them to join because they didn't know
really?
they didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, you know what, dude, I don't want to, like, no, I'm not interested. And now they're like, oh my God, I want to be in this. I want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just so funny because listening to what you're saying about the DCA, it honestly, and Green will know what I'm going. It honestly makes me think of what we've also been talking about with the Lore Network for lore content creators, because that's pretty much exactly the same philosophy that we've been trying to figure out how to get that whole thing started as well.
Well, the thing is that when it comes to lore, even though I don't know much about it, but the thing is, so I can see Shaxx and I can draw a picture of Shaxx and I know this thing about Shaxx, but a lot of the lore are just stories. So you have to develop that in your mind of what that would look like, what that would feel like, and how that would go.
And the thing is with the lore network itself is it's not just Destiny lore. It's basically finding people who are passionate about all different types of lore. It could be stories in general. So it's not focused. It's just basically getting a bunch of people together who like to talk about the stories, just like you guys like to draw all the different aspects and all your various ways of how you express yourselves. It's just a place for lore people to do that in whatever genre. We have was it it's not Transformers. Voltron, that's what it was. We have a Voltron article. We have Lord of the Rings articles. Just all the different stories that people are passionate about. And it's not us. We do have some of our own articles, but it's others. And letting them have a
another
platform
one that
for
we've had a couple on.
Yeah.
So you're doing the same thing that we're doing. It's basically being community.
Yep.
It's community driven, not like you just kind of set the foundation for it, but then it just kind of runs wild wherever it wants to go.
Yep.
Which is
the plan.
And it's great, you know.
Oh, it's amazing! Like just getting the people that we've gotten already. You know, it's just we just started. Like we really actually just kind of just started that whole project. It's been percolating for a while, but like even just in the short amount of time that we've been doing it, getting like the feedback and getting the excitement from the people who we've collaborated with is just. I mean, I hear exactly what you're saying about the Discord with the artist. It's kind of exactly how I feel whenever we talk to people about, you know, getting together and helping like podcasts, like showing them, hey, use this program to do this, use that program, use this trick in Audacity to make your, you know, audio sound better or
no
whatever.
No matter what facet it is, being a mentor in any sense of the word is like one of the best. It's the most rewarding feeling in the world. And I, like I said, I talked about earlier about how I like doing that with other designers who, I might not be the best at it, but I know enough to get me by. But I mean, like I've done work for people that want stream art. And then by the end of it, they're like, well, how do you do this? And then by the end of it, they're doing their own stream work. And I didn't even have them pay for any of it, and because I'm like, well, why don't you try it? You have Photoshop, you do this. I'm going to teach you how, but I want, so that way you can do it how you want. And they do. And then they become designers themselves. I mean, that's one of the most satisfying feelings in the world. And like for you guys, I'm sure it's the same way with storytelling. I've read I've read fan fiction of different things. I've read fan fiction of Destiny. Cole is an amazing storyteller. I've read some of her books or, her stories that she wrote. Some of them are not the most clean stories in the world, but that's Cole in her little mind of how everything works. But but see, I like it when people can do that. It's something as comical as seeing, what somebody would think that Shaxx would look like without his armor on. What does his face look like? Nobody knows. I mean, dude, I was blown away when I found out what Saladin looked like. I was like, wow, that's crazy. Did anybody know that Saint 14 had a Russian accent? No. I mean, maybe. Did you guys figure that one out?
No.
But you know what I mean? Like, you can have all these interpretations of what you want it to be. And then maybe eventually you'll find out for real. But, nobody know. I mean, is there I'll ask you this as from like a lore perspective. Is there any reason that Shaxx only has one horn on his head? Like, does anybody know where the other horn went?
He lost it in Twilight Gap?
Okay.
No.
Yeah, no. Well, he lost it in the
Battle
in
of
the,
Six Fronts.
Yeah, he lost it in the battle against the Fallen.
Okay.
It was either Battle of Six Fronts or Twilight.
I know
Gap.
it's always
cannot
always a
remember off
joke
the top
that
of
it's on some. Every girl says it's on their nightstand. I understand.
my head. No, not every girl. Cole says she has Shax's horn.
Cole is every girl,
And for nefarious reasons, because it's Cole. But
but you know what I mean. Like people have their own interpretations of these things.
Right.
You know, nobody knows what Shax looks like. Nobody knows what what he would look. But I mean, somebody can draw it of what he would look like without armor on. You know, or whatever, however they think it's going to be. And that's one of the coolest things in the world. And even though sometimes we kind of laugh at it because you're like, oh, that's somebody's going to make a not safe for work piece of Shax and the Drifter together or whatever, but to me, that's still creative,
Right.
I might not think it's the best thing in the world, but it's still a creative thing. It's like, oh, that's cool.
And it's fun. I mean, everybody has their own interpretations, and that's the beauty of it, is you get to see the various interpretations of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Howard, or Salty Cat, or Jason, where can we find you on the internet?
Okay. Everywhere I'm SaltyCatPlays on Twitter and Twitch. I do game streaming and I do design streams and whatever else. You might even catch me playing with Green here once in a while. She'll be shooting at me. We haven't played in a while. We really got to.
She'll be shooting at me.
Yeah,
she'll be shooting at me.
Yeah. I may have introduced him to my shotgun.
This is true.
But
this is true.
When do you normally stream? Is there like a certain time, or is it just kind of at the whim and you just tweet it out?
Right now, being a parent of a toddler, it's everything.
I feel you.
Everything is whenever I can.
Gotcha.
But this year, 2020, I'm actually taking a little bit of a step back from design work so I can game more because I've been doing designing for so long now that I've missed out on a lot with gaming. So I still do design work. So if anybody out there is interested in any Twitch work or anything like that, you need some design stuff done, you can hit me up on Twitter at SaltyCatPlays, and we can talk about it. But other than that, you can just pretty much find me goofing around trying to be good in the Crucible, which I'm not, but I pretend I am. But as far as the artwork side of things, DCA, you can follow us at DestinyCom Art, and basically you shout us out there or tag us in your art, and we will retweet it, and we'll give you a little bit of a farther reach. And then if you're interested in joining our Discord, hit us up there as well, or you can message me privately at same at SaltyCatPlays. You can DM me and be like, hey, I do artwork. Here's my portfolio. Let me see. Let me into the Discord, and I will definitely bring you in.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily you don't have to be at like Monkus level or a Gamma Trap level artist. You can be at any level and kind of work your way in.
We do vet people only because there unfortunately is a lot of people out there that trace or that, do certain things that we're kind of against. Mm-hmm. But if you're an honest artist and you're a nice person, if we see your artwork and it's great, but we go into your Twitter and we look and we see just a bunch of toxic, we don't want this person hanging out with us kind of thing, then, we might think twice about it.
That's fair.
Right. No, that's fair.
That's 100% fair.
Well, and also as an admin of the Discord, you have the current community to think of.
Yes, we do. But like I said, if this isn't, like I said, this is not an elitist club by any means. It's not like some exclusive thing. It's, we look at everything on a case by case basis, and we see, if it's like, oh, this person's, serious about their art and they're actually, active in certain things, then, we talk about it and we figure out if we invite them to the Discord or not, But even if you don't want to be in the Discord and you just want to show your art off, like I said, feel free to tag us at DestinyCom Art, and we will make sure your art gets out so that way people can see it and enjoy it like we do.
Nice.
That's awesome. Blue?
That's pretty much all I got. I don't have anything.
Yeah.
I'm just in awe of just listening. I love listening to these kind of things.
I'm sorry I talk a lot, but I'm super excited.
What I mean is I like just getting to listen to people talk about what they're passionate about, and it's fun to do that with these. That's actually where the idea of these particular episodes came from, because like you were saying at the beginning, not everyone is super well versed in lore, and so but we want to talk to them. We want to talk to you guys and everything. And so we just were like, what, screw it. We're just going to do what we call the behind the scenes, because then we don't have to talk about lore. So it doesn't, that whole I don't feel comfortable talking about that doesn't even come into it. Cause...
Yeah, it's more, and it's also introducing our community to you guys, because, I mean, artists, you said yourself that you're not necessarily somebody who's versed in what we do as much, so there's maybe some of our listeners who are not as versed in the artist. Now that I found kind of hard to believe, just because the art is amazing and it's all over the place, and it should be all over the place.
Yeah,
but,
I love it.
yeah.
I wouldn't trade what we have for the world as far as our community and what they're capable of creating and how they do things. I mean, it makes me smile every day that I go onto Twitter and I see people using art, and and actually one of the craziest thing was not that long ago I was going through and I found somebody using one of my commissioned pieces, a piece that I paid for, as their avatar, and I was like, oh, this is a piece that was mine and mine only. Like, I bought this, and it was a picture by an artist out of Germany called Paint This Ice, and she's amazing. She does really cool artwork. She's a very specific style, and she did a piece of my hunter falling off of a cliff and shooting his Night Stalker bow into the air. And it was a beautiful piece. And I, like I said, I happened to stumble upon somebody who had that as their profile picture. And I was like, oh, okay. I paid for that, but go ahead. All I told her was that she should credit the artist for using it. And I said, hey, please credit Paint This Ice. You don't have to credit me, but that's actually my artwork. And, you should credit the artist for using it. And they did. So
good.
Well, that's good.
All was well in the end, but yeah, it's so weird to see that kind of stuff, I guess.
Good art likes to spread. All right. Well, thank you for hopping on with us. It's just, I like these episodes. They're a little less crazy structured, like our normal stuff. And it's just nice to have somebody just to chat to, and chat with.
Thank you so much for listening. Oh, and by the way,
sponsored by...
I hate that ending so much. That is the end of the episode. He'll cut it right after I hate that ending so much.